Should I use credit card to cover my expenses every month? That is a fundamental question. There are so many people who are asking, and there are a lot of different answers available in the market. Some of the financial experts says that don't use credit card is a trap. Some says that it is a very good tool, you should be definitely using. I am going to share today how I use credit card, and there are definitely pros and cons in using credit cards, and you have to be very careful about it. But it's an very amazing tool, financial tool, which actually I have used over my lifetime to see a lot of benefits out of it. So today I'm going to share some of the tips, or I can say my own personal experiences, and you can definitely use some of those in your life. Hey guys, welcome to Money Mindset and More. And today's quick question is that should I be using credit card for my expenses or not? My personal view is that you should be definitely using credit card for your transactions, and you should be using it as a financial instrument rather than something which is a pay over period of time or something like that. So, and here are the seven, I would say, seven tips which I have recorded in my notebooks, and today I'm going to share. And the first one is that you should always replace all your cash transactions with your credit card. What I mean by that is, let's say you have budgeted $1,000 for groceries and your daily expenses for the month, and you are already have the cash to do that. Replace that cash with your credit card so that you can have those cash available for you, and you can pay off that thing in your cash in your credit card debt in later time, right? So that is something you should definitely do, and that's how you should be doing it, rather than spending something which you don't have. So it's basically a concept of a balance sheet where your asset and liability should be equal. So let's say you have $1,000 asset which you want to spend on groceries, use with credit card, that become your liability, but you have asset to cover it, so you are good to go. You will never have any problem with credit cards. Now the second is where you have to always pay your credit card in full. That is always recommended. The interest rate on credit card is really high. It goes up to 30-35% in the US, and you should not be paying that much interest. So you should be always paying your credit card before your due date in full. One important tip I would like to share, and I have learned from my own experiences, always have your credit card on auto payment for minimum payment. You have to pay in full before your due date, but you should have an auto payment set up for your minimum payments. I use my credit card in a different ways as a financial instrument, so that's why I keep doing that. But the benefit of putting your minimum on auto pay is you will never miss any payment, so you will never pay any late fee. You will never pay any interest on the things which will be, let's say, incurring. And also, if you miss paying any credit card two times in a row, that is going to be reported on your credit history in US. So, and that takes almost 2 years to get rid of it. So that should not happen at all, because if you are going to use credit card as a financial instrument, then you have to be very careful about all these nitty gritties, because this will impact your credit worthiness, using your cards in future and things like that. So very important, always pay in full and keep your card on minimum payment, auto minimum payment for sure. Now third one is, which is very common in US, 0% APR cards. Now you should never use 0% APR cards for any large purchases, and that is what I have seen a lot of people have done, and then ultimately they are in credit card debt. You should never buy TV, car, or whatever in US, and you should never go on vacation on 0% APR cards. That is actually biggest trap probably you have in the US. Rather use those 0% APR cards to earn some money. You can definitely do that. I keep doing that. I am going to make a video on that particular 0% APR cards, how to use for different passive income. I'll make I'm going to make a video for my paid subscriber how I do it. But you should never use 0% APR cards for anything which is luxurious. Never ever. You are not going to pay it back, and that's going to be a big debt for you. So keep in mind that. Also, you should have, if you have decided to use the card, then you should have at least two or three cards, because what happens that you can have different kind of permutation combination of using cards, balance transfer and other things, and you should be definitely having those cards ready. And I would say you can have as many as you want, but you are not going to use those cards anyway. I have a lot of cards, but I use probably two or three, that's it. But those gives you flexibility on playing around what kind of offers they give you during their what you call tenure with the credit card. So definitely have two or three cards. Now the next one is never add your spouse on your credit card. Now the reason is very simple. The moment you add your spouse on your credit card, the balance on the card always reflects on both of you on your credit history. So your credit worthiness for you and your wife or husband goes down based upon the expense on one card, which is probably you are using, let's say, just for yourself. So if you are using a card for $1,000 worth of groceries and other things in a month, and if you have a joint credit card, it will reflect on both of credit history. So don't do that, not recommended. And that is something you will realize later on if you are not paying attention, but never do that. Also, if you are a small business owner, then there are a lot of cards which are available on shipping and other kind of things where you get 5% up to 6% or sometimes 10% cashback, which is a lot of cashback for shipping and other activities if you do, and it will directly have an impact on your margins. Or you can transfer those amount or offer what you call discount to your customers, but up to 10%. FedEx has a offer with American Express some time back, which was like 10% on every shipment. So if you are, let's say, doing 5,000 worth of shipment per month, 10% will be $500, which is a lot of money. And then next one is, I personally don't care too much about points or cashbacks on general cards. That is not going to have a large impact if your purchase is very low per month. For example, if you are using for $1,000 expenses per month, you will have, let's say, 12,000 points end of the year. That will be worth somewhere $120, right? So that's not going to be a lot of impact for you. But utilizing it over time will have a good understanding how the credit works for yourself. And when you understand those things, then probably it can go further from there. For people who have 20K worth of, let's say, expense per month, small business owner and others, that will have a direct impact on your points and your cashbacks and others. And that is the point when you start paying attention. Probably if your expense is, let's say, 5,000 USD per month, then you should definitely pay attention to how it is impacting your cashback and points. Below that, I don't think so it's had any value to have a card just for points. So I will never recommend to have a card just to get points. That doesn't make any sense unless you are spending 220K per month, which will be like 120K, 140K in a year, and those are a lot of points. So in conclusion, it's a very good financial instrument if you understand how to use it. Now the mistake we people do is that they think that they will use credit card to buy something and then they will pay over time without realizing the interest rates on those things. So you should be very careful. If you are thinking that you are going to use card to buy something today and pay it tomorrow, then don't use credit cards. If you are going to use your credit card for today's purchase, which you have to do anyway, and you are utilizing a different card to make those purchases, I will always recommend to use it. And then there are more sophisticated ways to use credit card, which I do personally. And you can actually good what you call, you can build a good wealth for yourself if you understand how the industry work and how they play around with cashback, your fees, your points, and other things. And please try to see my subscribed paid subscribe videos, which I'm going to make for very specific things, how I'm utilizing to gain passive income from these kind of cards. There are a lot of ways to do it. I follow some of the ways, which I'm going to share very soon. Hope to see you there. Thank you. Bye bye.